You ever taken a weird Uber ride?
Every time I get in the Uber with Jaybird,
Yeah,
he attracts weird.
Sounds like there's a lot of weird Uber rides going on here between KBJ Show members. In fact, I think everybody pretty much has a story. I don't really ever take ride share, so thankfully I don't necessarily have anything that was too odd.
When it first started, baby, it was amazing. And then, I don't know, it got kind of oversaturated and it got weird.
In the beginning, it felt like all the drivers were awesome and they cared.
They were.
Now, they have mental breakdowns while they're driving you, which happened to me, and I could not believe it.
The weirdest one I ever had was the Uber driver who was growling and farting the entire trip. He was muttering to himself and farting. And it was like a 30 minutes drive,
How
man.
do you know he's farting? Was it smell or noise or both?
Both.
Really?
He did not care. I kind of felt like he was checked out of life.
Yes, it happens.
It was a late Uber.
They have full-on mental breakdowns as they're driving you. It is horrific.
He was not happy I wasn't going down to Miami. He made that very clear.
Oh, he wanted to go to Miami.
He wanted the big pay.
If you take a short ride, they sometimes will get mad at you for it.
And 20 minutes
wow.
was 20 to 30. I forget where I was going, but it was like a 20 to 30 minute ride.
20 to 30 is
It's
a
so
long
long.
ride.
He was so not happy about that, so he farted on me.
Terrorist.
It's a weapon.
It was, I mean, relentless.
Wow. Okay. Denny's, you had a weird Uber ride as well?
I've had a few. The weirdest one I'd have to say was I was in the back seat and the lady in front that was driving had a woman sitting to her right in the passenger seat that was doing her nails. And I mean, we're talking
nails.
with the
Acrylic.
The acrylic,
The
it smelled.
tips.
It was so strong. The smell. They cracked the windows. I asked if they could crack it, and they just cracked it just a centimeter. And given it was a short ride, so it wasn't too bad, but the fumes were unbearable. But this lady, she didn't want to waste time. She wanted to get her nails done at the same time she was working, so that she was making money and spending money at the same time.
I admire that entrepreneurial spirit.
It's
but
just rough
not
on
as
your
a passenger.
passenger.
No, that's terrible.
The other one that was crazy was I got picked up by a woman and she was on an earpiece phone call, talking on the phone, and I'm in the back seat, and she was complaining to her girlfriend who she was talking to about how her husband is so lazy that he doesn't do his Uber shifts, and she was picking them up for him because they're so broke. And she's bashing her husband the entire trip, but then she was bashing the passenger before me, saying that I had to pick up this fat guy. He was taking up the whole seat, complaining. This is the worst, my husband. And then I'm just thinking, oh my God, this lady's going to talk so much trash when I get out of this thing.
Yeah, what is she saying about me?
I was trying to be so cool, but the whole time she was bashing her husband about how he's so lazy and he doesn't do his Uber shifts and she has to pick him up for him.
Oh, wow.
So she was doing his Uber shifts for him.
You don't really get this in a cab, do you?
No.
Cab drivers are pretty quiet for the most part.
Yeah, I took a lot of cabs back in the day. I can't really ever remember having as much stories as we have from Uber, because it's just regular people. It's just regular people in their Honda.
And funny enough, these are just the tip of the iceberg. We have so many more Uber stories. Me and Virginia took one where the guy was so racist and so overly political.
Ranting.
Ranting.
And the more he rant, the faster he drove.
Yes, which was kind of cool because we were running late.
Okay.
That was my fault.
What was he ranting about?
Politics.
The border.
Yes.
He was
a white guy?
He was flat out. He was a racist person. He was straight up racist.
Unreal.
It was difficult, and then we were like, okay, we can't say anything. We can't fight with this guy because he'll drive into a tree and kill us all.
I feel like I had the exact same guy, unless there's just that many racist Uber drivers. Because I had somebody who was ranting about immigrants the entire ride.
Did he have a beard?
He didn't have a beard, so this actually was a different guy.
Okay.
He was actually, which was really weird, when I was in the car, he was chewing, what's the
Dip?
Dip.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he had his window open, so he's ranting about the border, and he just keeps spitting it out the window, but he had terrible aim, so it kept landing all over the car. It was so disgusting.
Oh, man.
Luckily, I was sitting on the right side because it kept blowing back into the seat on the left side behind him. It was really nasty.
That's so disgusting. Yeah, it's so weird. I had an Uber driver. He said he's getting married tomorrow. I'm getting married tomorrow. He's got a quarter pounder in his hand with onions hanging out. He's eating and talking to me about how he does not want to get married tomorrow.
Wow.
He's like, yeah, getting married, don't really want to. Chewing. He drops me off at Denny's house, and then he sits in Denny's parking lot and finishes his McDonald's meal. He was in Denny's driveway for 20 minutes. Wow. Just chilling there.
It's so brazen.
He wanted to
chilling.
stay by you because he found a common soul that hates marriage.
I didn't say anything. I was so grossed out by the onion smell and him talking and spitting quarter pounder about marriage.
Did you give him any advice? Like, don't do it?
It wasn't even that quick of it wasn't that long of a ride. It was like a 10-minute ride. I go, oh my God.
I got stuck with one guy who I guess he created this comedy app, and he said Jerry Seinfeld loved it. So he had a voicemail from Jerry Seinfeld, and he's swerving down the highway as he's trying to find this voice message in his phone, doing like 40 miles an hour, and I'm going all the way to Boca. And honestly, it didn't sound like Jerry Seinfeld, the voicemail. I'm not really sure that he was telling the truth.
It was Jerry Steinfeld.
Yeah. It was a knockoff.
Yeah. Top said, I once had an Uber driver try to force me to speak Spanish the entire ride because he said I needed to learn it. It was a shame to be in Miami and not know Spanish.
Wow.
It's a lot, man.
It's aggressive.
How about that? Val said, I had an Uber driver that he would put a song on, then he would rap to it, and then he would stop and ask how I did.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. What if you didn't like it? Was he able to take
You
the critique?
You're
agree
great.
with everything. That's what I've
Man.
learned. When you're in the back seat and your driver is unhinged, you cannot argue with them.
Well,
Yeah.
she's not lying because I had an Uber driver who was again mad because it was a short ride, and he made that very clear that he was mad about it. I cannot tell you, he was driving so fast and crazy. I think just to screw me over because he was mad. I thought we were going to get into an accident. If he wanted to crash and be a maniac, he could have easily done that to me.
Totally. A lot of these drivers are on the edge. It is a weird thing when you get in somebody's car and you realize in the first 2 minutes that they're about to have a mental breakdown in front of you while they're driving
Yeah,
you.
this guy was on the edge and he seemed very angry. And it was the only time I was legit scared in an Uber ride. And
I've been scared a couple times.
One text said, yeah, we were going from downtown West Palm home to Loxahatchee after sunset, and our Uber driver's swerving all over the road. We noticed he was popping no-dos, trying not to fall asleep.
My gosh.
do you say something to that guy? I think this is our exit. We're good.
Yikes. Crazy stuff.